on the corruption front. And that goes into the big subject we're covering now. Roger Stone obviously has a lot of sources, does a lot of research, and late last night he figured out some information and some connections in all the stuff coming out about her homes that she says is 4 homes, but it's 1 home, and fraud on the taxes and fraud on the write-offs and fraud with HUD. And then now we learned her primary residence was in another state. So under the law, she couldn't be the attorney general. And then we've got her on top of that. It's now coming out with paying for private jets and flights with government money. It looks really, really bad. Reminds me of Fannie Willis, but even worse. So pretty much the same story. These people thought they'd never get in trouble. Letitia James falsified records to obtain loans, even claimed she was married to her father. This is not a clerical error. This is mortgage fraud. She falsified occupation details, and it goes on and on and on. So that's a big deal. The Trump administration has referred New York AG Letitia James for potential prosecution over alleged mortgage fraud. So has HUD. Big detailed reports on that in the New York Post. Docs showing Letitia James' residences could be legal problem for the AG. That's cut and dry. You've also got her investigated for private jet flights and more. So a lot is coming out on that front. Roger Stone has exclusive research and details on this, and he'll give us his overall view. People say, well, okay, she's a corrupt globalist. No, she's one of the big dominoes and one of the epicenters of the attack. She pledged when she was running, I'm going to put him in jail. I'm going to get him. I'm going to get that son of a bitch. Ha, ha, ha. Well, I tell you, the shoe is on the other foot, and unlike Trump, she is extremely corrupt, like all these Democrat scumbags. So, Roger, what's the latest on this, and what's the exclusive info?
Alex, I think this has to be put first in some context. People will be familiar with Letitia James, the New York Attorney General. She's the one who said that no person is above the law. She also referred to Donald Trump as the art of the steal. But the chickens have come home to roost here, because literally just weeks before Trump's trial in New York, the so-called valuation trial, this is the one in which he was falsely accused of inflating the value of his assets in order to obtain commercial real estate loans, which he paid back in full and on time, making the lenders $40 million in interest. She herself signed a power of attorney involved in the obtaining of a mortgage on a home in Virginia, in which she signed a power of attorney in which she specifically said, in order to obtain the mortgage and the specific mortgage rate, that she would move into the home within 60 days. Now, there's 2 problems with that. Were she to actually do that, under New York state law, the office of the Attorney General would be automatically vacated. There's not even a hearing. You move out of state, you forfeit the office. Then yesterday, James' spokesperson told the New York Times on a separate loan application form provided by the Attorney General, Ms. James indicated she did not intend to occupy the property as her primary residence. That's what's known as a lie. There is no so application. It's not in the public record. If they provided that to the New York Times, they provided a forgery. Secondarily, they said her mortgage agreement did not require her to live in the home. Also, a second lie, which I have detected this morning. You can go see all of these documents by going to whitecollarfraud.com, whitecollarfraud.com. It is meticulously documented. Now,
and let me just stop you there, because I know you said that to the crew, we're going to put those documents on screen from the White Collar Fraud site. You told me about this earlier this morning, and I went and looked, and I noticed no one had broken those 2 connections. And we don't want to be first. We don't care. We want it all out. But we need to focus on this. As of now, unless somebody else has broken it, you are the person that's made these connections by looking at the documents and her statements. So repeat what you just said so it's very clear.
Yeah, well, first I've got to give credit to Sam Antar, who is one of the greatest forensic researchers I've ever encountered, because I'm not in the mortgage business. I can't read these things the way he can. But it was interesting. I think it was Laura Ingraham had the first television-based story on this, and she was interviewing Jonathan Turley, the George Washington University law professor, who had reviewed all the documents and said, look, there is no answer for this. The only possible answer she could give, pardon me, would be that these documents are fabrications, that they're forgeries, which of course they're not. Then I noticed that she claimed in the New York Times that there was an additional mortgage application in which she did not agree to move into the property. That is a complete fabrication. That's false. And then secondarily, she said that the mortgage and the mortgage rate that she received did not require her to live in the property. That's also false. But Alex, this is part of a long chain of mortgage fraud. In the very first mortgage she ever obtained when she was 24, she used her father's balance sheet and his finances to obtain the mortgage. On the mortgage application, she says that her father is her husband. But on the title, she correctly says that her father is her father, that they are father and daughter. No, that's not a typographical error. It's because she could not she could not have gotten the mortgage. She would have been eligible for the mortgage based on her finances as a 24-year-old. And then additionally, there's this now relatively famous AMP loan, which is a loan that is available, first of all, for those who are in financial hardship. She was making $14,000 a month at the time she applied for this, but it is available for rental properties that are 4 units and below. She certified in her application that the property in Virginia she was buying was only 4 units. We sent somebody out to look to it at it. It's 5 units. So there's yet another lie. She wasn't eligible. Today, she tells the New York Times that the property that in question regarding her residency, whether she's a New Yorker or lives in the Commonwealth of Virginia, she says her niece lives there. Sorry, we knocked on the door. The people living there, the people who live there, are not related to you. They're renters. She's not your niece. So she evidently believes that she can lie her way out of this. Alex, I got to be honest with you. This is just one element of the fraud she's been involved in. I believe, I know that there's at least one lawsuit where she covered up sexual assault by her chief of staff, who just happens to be a Muslim. That was filed in 2022. Very recently, very quietly, the New York Appeals Court, all Democrats, did not dismiss the suit, but they dropped the attorney general from it. This is what lawyers call wrongly decided, and I believe it will be reviewed. At least 2 other women who claim that they were sexually assaulted by Letitia James's chief of staff. They've been threatened. They're scared, but I believe they will soon come forward. And this is ironic because you'll recall the issue Letitia James used to take down her fellow Democrat, Andrew Cuomo, was sexual assault. So there's a lot more to be heard about this coming up. And then additionally, we've done a deep dive into the financing of her campaign for attorney general, utilizing the notorious payment processing company Act Blue. And once again, you see the same pattern you saw with Raphael Warnock and Val Demings, Democrats from Georgia and Florida, respectively, where you have dozens, sometimes 20, 30 small or medium-sized contributions from people across the country who gave to Letitia James came for attorney general. But when you go to their door, as, say, James O'Keefe has done, and you show them the spreadsheet and say, did you give these contributions? They have no idea what you're talking about. They did not.
No, it's simple. They're using other people's identities, just like they give the illegal aliens Social Security cards and let them vote, and then you do tax rebates and tax return money. It's just total fraud machine, and that leads us into Why doesn't Kash Patel just send FBI agents over to talk to Letitia? She'll lie her ass off, and then we got her right there, cut and dry.
Well, as you know, Bill Pulte, who is the head of the Federal Finance Housing Agency, pardon me, the Federal Housing Finance Agency, that's correct, has sent a formal letter to the Department of Justice recommending prosecution. So the decision now is up to the Attorney General. The Attorney General could ask the FBI to go out and verify everything that is alleged in the complaint, but the complaint is very, very documented. Now, look, I understand my old friend Laura Loomer claims that she broke this story a long time ago. Actually, that's not true. She pulled up the New York State website, and she could see that Letitia James had multiple mortgages over several years. She may have identified this discrepancy between 4 and 5 units, but she didn't publish that information. She didn't do anything with it. She evidently gave it to those in the Trump entourage who, it turns out, did not do anything with it. That's not quite the same as what has happened in the last.
And that's a problem right there. Trump's got a lot better people around him this time, but that's still not enough. Most people want to just get their job, keep their head down, and not take on the deep state because they'll come after you. Well, look, yeah, Flynn, myself, Roger, others, we've been targeted because we will go after people publicly, and we need to get everybody else doing that. Because it's not just safety in numbers. That's how we win, people. We don't have, God's given us this opportunity to take back the country. But if we sit here on our hands like a bunch of wimpy politicos, and I'm not talking about us, but these other people, it's time to get hardcore. We have not been given the shot to save the country to sit here with our thumbs, you know where, Roger.
Well, Alex, you know, I think it was Ronald Reagan who said, you can accomplish much if you don't care who gets the credit. Two people who deserve enormous credit here. You know Joel Gilbert, documentary filmmaker, terrific researcher, Sam Antar. These guys did the fundamental underlying research into Letitia James and her history of mortgage fraud, and they both need to be identified and given credit here today. All I did was recognize that we needed to amplify that in the
sure, I'm not even bringing this about credit. I'm talking about, and I wasn't talking about Laura Loomer. I'm talking about the Republicans she gave it to, the Trump administration people who did nothing. I mean, you remember when you and I were telling Trump, and he was listening, but about all the different globalists in the White House, Fiona Hill and all the rest of them. They had 60-minute shows that we're bullies and we're mean, and then they come after us. And people say, well, why is it Roger and Alex Jones and General Flynn the only ones telling Trump? Because all the rest of them were scared, folks, okay? And it's not anywhere that bad this time. How would you grade the backbone in the current, let's say level 1 down 3 levels in Trump's staff, Trump's crew? I mean, I would say they're 500% better than 8 years ago, but I think there's still room for improvement on the hardcoreness here. You got to go for the juggler, right?
There's no question about that. Thinking back to that whole contretemps with Fiona Hill. Remember, Alex, when she went on 60 Minutes and did this act? I'm not even political. I don't know what you're talking about. She worked for Soros.
She said, I don't even know what a globalist is. Meanwhile, she was the editor of theglobalist.com. I don't know why Alex Jones and Roger Stone are mean to me. And she was literally running the operation against Trump inside the White House.
Look, this is like day and night. Trump has a first-rate team around him. Scott Bessent, Secretary of the Treasury, probably the greatest Secretary of the Treasury since Alexander Hamilton. Believes in gold, by the way. And outside the box.
Wants to get rid of the IRS, and they're moving to do it. Oh, really? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about some positive stuff here. On all cylinders, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., coming in, taking away, they're already set to take away vaccine liability protection. That's teed up. Banning all the poison chemicals in the food. That's now happening. Blocking the new, quote, COVID booster. Moving to take it off the recommended list, which takes away its liability, which effectively bans it. On and on and on. Then you've got Trump openly and Ludnick and all of them saying, yeah, we're getting rid of the income tax. I mean, they mean it. Can you speak to that? I mean, this is real revolution.
Yeah, they're very serious about this. This is not just like a throwaway, a press release. My own governor, Ron DeSantis, said, well, maybe we'll do away with with Florida property taxes. That's a press release. We have no income tax here. If we have no property taxes, then how exactly are we supposed to finance the government? I mean, I don't love taxes, but some politicians just throw out a press release. So, for example, Governor DeSantis said he was going to ban the communist Chinese from buying land in Florida. Great, I loved it. Then I looked at the small print. Well, his legislation, which was passed and signed, only bans the Chinese from buying land that is contiguous to a national security facility, whatever that means. I'm not even sure what that means. So in Trump, you have somebody who has had 4 years in the wilderness, 4 years to think about these things, 4 years to experience the viciousness of the tsunami of lawfare they waged against him. He is battle hardened. This is as hardcore as it gets. If he can do away with the IRS and the federal income tax system, he will do so. Right now, I guarantee you one thing: Deng Xiaoping is someplace, or Chairman Xi, I should say, is someplace with a copy of The Art of the Deal, trying desperately to figure it out. You're negotiating with a man who has ice water in his veins. When it comes to standing up for America, there's nobody like Donald Trump. And anybody who thinks that Fortune 500 companies and these other Wall Street fat cats can call him and talk him down from using tariffs as a cudgel to beat our trading partners into giving us a fair deal does not understand Donald Trump. There's not a loser in this cabinet. Tulsi Gabbard, RFK, Marco Rubio, Scott Bessent, Kash Patel. Yes, I'm a little impatient. I admit that, but I want things to be done right. So I'm not giving up on Kash Patel. I'm certainly not giving up on Pam Bondi. Let's see what happens here.
Roger, we're almost out of time. I want to shift gears now